Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, the reason, Tim, I wanted to have you on the program again, I mean, I know you're on a lot, and one of the reasons that is this time is because this week we did this story about you suing George Perry and what was going on with that, and I guess I wanted to get some comments from you. I'm going to preface this interview by saying that we do have an article about it. Tim has responded in some way to these allegations of suing and what it all means. That will be up on the website tomorrow. But for now,
I did. I responded.
Well, there was a response. We did an interview about it, and I.
Okay, good.
Well, as long as you remember that you responded.
Time goes by so fast here.
Well, again, I mean, some people have said in response to seeing that article that the idea of you suing people is not conducive to getting good people to run for public office. What is your response?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Listen, I don't like all that garbage about you got to have good people to run for office, and you got to pay them well and all this and all that. I'm an excellent person. I run for free, and I get harassed by the cops all the time. So you can have a person face the obstacles of what they're doing wrong and still run for office. Listen, Fred, I want to make sure people understand why I want to sue people and who I want to sue. What I want to sue is all the past city officials, the past city councilors, and the past city advisors who have given the city or the people, the voters of the community, bad advice on how to vote about drug prohibition and more enforcement. And they failed to bring forth the information about how it's going to raise the level of criminality and maximize harm to society, and they failed to, or they blocked me bringing this information forward. That's what I have a problem with. It's the negligence and the reckless endangerment of the past city council.
Well, Mike, when you bring up the idea of past city councils, Tim, my question has to be, how much of this is about getting even and getting revenge, and how much is about making a progressive step forward?
I have no desire for revenge, and any past city councilor who chooses not to run for office and drops out of politics is fine with me. But what you have to understand is just like at the end of World War II, where we went after the Nazis and we held them accountable for war crimes and crimes against humanity. What these people have done to this community is unconscionable.
I don't think you're really comparing the Nazi Party to people running for mayor in Abbotsford.
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I am. I am saying that the Christian Taliban are no different than the Nazis. What is the difference between refusing medical help for people at the emergency ward when they need it and torture? What's the difference between forcing somebody to walk up and down the street all night using crystal meth and chemical warfare? I don't understand it. It doesn't look any different to me.
Well, that perhaps is a point there, but again, I mean,
listen, what's the difference between propaganda and listen? How many do you think I've never met George Perry before? Do you think I've never had a conversation with him about drug prohibition? Do you think that I have not told him that he should stand up and be counted on the side of the downtrodden and the helpless instead of siding with the Christian Taliban?
Well, I'm sure you have, but he probably has a different opinion. I'm not sure.
Hey, listen, he's entitled to his opinion, but he's not entitled to a set of facts. And the fact is, the number of drug-addicted homeless people and the amount of violence being put upon the community has increased under his stewardship.
But can we really sue people for their opinions?
I'm not suing him for his opinion. I'm suing him for his negligence.
But he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong.
Well, then, I'm sure the Nazis didn't either. Like at the end of the war, most of them said, hey, we were just doing our job.
I guess that's true, but I guess I'm wondering if maybe you're going to scare good people off running for political office. Because
well, I hope I run all the Nazis off, that's for sure. And, listen, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but these people are bad for the community. And, like what they're doing is playing into this whole Nazification of Canada. Maybe they may not be Nazis. They're just like Christian Taliban, which is a soft bastard, but a bastard. And,
wow.
They're playing into this whole Nazification of Canada and the American foreign policy of war and hate and intolerance and the drug war. And, I think people really better step back and look at what happens when this drug war really gets going. Last week you asked me if the people of Abbotsford were outraged, and I told you know. And I figured out what a definition of outrage will be. Okay? A definition of outrage would be when the violence is defined as shooting off machine guns and beating people mercilessly or to a pulp and cutting off their fingers and poking out their eyes and shit like that.
Now, there was an article printed in this week's Abbotsford News. I think you said it was written by Trudy Bayak, the opinion piece. Can you confirm that Trudy Bayak did write that article about the nomination requirements going up?
Of who?
Trudy Bayak.
Yeah, and what article was that?
This is one where she suggested that the councillors need to get more signatures for the nominations to get people like you to stop running.
Oh, yeah. Like Trudy Bayak has written articles about that before where we want to limit our rights. I'm not, I assume it was her writing it.
Okay.
I have a lot of problems with Trudy anyway.
Well,
and
yeah.
if she didn't write this, I'm sorry for accusing her of writing it. But I'll accuse her for being, for putting out a bunch of propaganda. And, listen, I'm tired of Trudy Bayak. Trudy Bayak is a world-class investigator. She's received 2 Jack Webster Awards, and she's received 2 awards for community investigation. And she has failed to investigate this drug war, and she has failed to investigate the causation of all these violence and gangs. She has failed to interview me, and she has done nothing but slant the truth, slander my name.
Now, but one of her pieces of advice was that maybe instead of having just 2 signatures required for the nomination, that maybe there should be 25 signatures required for the nomination. I'm not sure that's such a bad idea, Tim.
Well, listen, you know what? I hate standing up there on stage and only getting 2 minutes to try and explain why legalizing marijuana is going to bring world peace and in the war in Afghanistan and in the drug war. It's hard to do in 2 minutes. So don't get me wrong, I don't like all these Joe Blows up there on the stage with me either. But, what the problem is we need to include everybody in a vote, first of all. And we need to make sure we don't limit the playing field to only the people with a lot of money and a lot of ability of special interest. Like we want people who volunteer and are grassroots. We want people. I'd rather have an honest person in there making mistakes because they're just incompetent than I would to have an intelligent shyster in there ripping me off and sticking it to me.
I suppose that's true, but I guess her thought was that the idea is that we can reduce the number of one-issue candidates in the election and get people who are more interested in a much broader concern. And I think she made the point that I think the whole article, whoever wrote it, was basically a shot at you, Tim, basically trying to say that...
Trudy Bayak has written an article about that before, about me being a one-issue candidate. And I want to say this to Trudy because I know she listens to these broadcasts. And I know these people are starting to listen to, the words you're printing about me. And that is like, listen, I am a one-issue candidate. I am only concerned about my freedom and my liberty. And when somebody starts to infringe upon that, I guard it more than I guard my family jewels.
And we know how tough you guard those.
Well, like if they want to go around with you about this, I'll go. But like, there's no way I'm going to quit. This is. I am a one-issue candidate, and it's my civil liberty. And, like what I don't like about the Abbotsford News and about Trudy Bayak is they fail to investigate what the causation of all this violence is.
Okay, now I've got 1 minute left for you, Tim. You're still going to go ahead with this suit right now, right?
Say that again?
You're still going to go ahead with this suit?
Oh, yeah. I'm working very hard on it.
In 30 seconds, what will it take for you to back off?
George Perry calling for an end to drug prohibition and apologizing to the community that he didn't bring this information forward sooner and saying, I support Tim Felger in City Council. That'll work for me. And then I'll even endorse him.
So you're not talking about him having to walk over coals, an apology, take a look at the information, and then just say he supports you running for the office?
No, he supports ending drug prohibition. He's calling for an end to drug prohibition. And that means, like, legalizing medical marijuana. That means, making marijuana the lowest of best priority. That means lifting the harm reduction ban.
Do you think that's realistically going to happen?
Oh, well, if he doesn't, this is going to be one hell of a mayor's race.